What are some quick tips that you can age well? Well, September is Aging Well Month, and I'm doing your natural hormone balance specialist from Be Balanced. And of course, anything that goes along with aging goes along with treating yourself well, self-care, balancing your hormones, looking at your health, looking at your emotions. So let's cover a couple of those. I did a short earlier on the first kind of two things, which are kind of connected. And one is have a passion in life. I was saying that I am so thankful that I get to work as a natural hormone balance specialist and a founder of Be Balanced with women every day, even throughout our franchises. And it's just, the results we get, it just makes everybody, all the staff and every Be Balanced happy every day. Sure, we have some of the crap that goes along with business, but every day we're seeing that we're helping people and we're doing something we're passionate about, women's health, helping them feel better, look better. And that is something that revitalizes you. When you do something you're passionate about, and if you're lucky enough to do it for your job, it literally raises your vibrational frequency. The molecules are vibrating faster. Maybe that's why I talk so fast. I don't know. But it's a really important thing, right? We talk about the biology of the body, and that's important. Hormones are a part of that. We talk about the chemistry of the body. That's important. The drugs we take, the herbs we take. But we don't talk about the physics, and the physics is your emotions. So being very passionate about something, especially something you do every day, if it could be your job, that'd be awesome. That literally raises your vibrational frequency. Now, things that bring down your vibrational frequency would be, bad food or negative emotions or, pollutants in the air. So there's things that bring up and bring down your vibrational frequency. But if we do something every day we're passionate about, that's going to help. Now, if you can't do it for a job, I get it. Everybody can't be an artist, a rock star, whatever. But have something that you practice. I want to be a painter, but I'm not Picasso. Well, let me paint a little bit every day or every other day. You have to have a passion. And if you don't, you need to look for one, because there could be something dead inside. There could be something that makes you so depressed that's going on that doesn't allow for that. Like if someone's dying of cancer, they're not going to be like, what's my passion? I get it. But it's something that's so, so important to us. And since we're not dying of cancer, we need to be thinking, what can we do? What can we explore? Or as women, are we helping and nurturing everyone else so much and we're not nurturing ourselves that we don't even know what our passion is? So having a passion is the big one. Number two is treating people well. Now, why is that important? Well, just to be a moral, ethical person, you're like, well, that's a good thing to do, right? But there's other reasons too. When you've done something, I treated my ex terrible, or I don't know, or I, wasn't really there for my child when I should have been because I was too busy doing whatever, or I didn't really work as hard at work and I didn't really treat my boss fairly. Things can go in that direction, right? If you have these things, what are you feeling? Guilt. And sometimes we even feel shame. Well, shame is the lowest vibrational frequency of all emotions. That's going to bring your frequency down, right? So if you're doing your passion every day, but you're guilty for all these things you've done or feel shameful, and it doesn't even matter if what you did really you should be ashamed of. It matters what you think about it. So if you're thinking, well, my mother wants me to come over every day and I don't, so I feel bad and guilty. Well, that's a situation where you need to look at that and say, is that something I have to do or I just think I should do? Because sometimes we feel guilty over the wrong things or things that aren't really things we have to do. I heard one time someone say, I think it was a psychologist, here's what you have to do, right? I got to go to work. I got to make my lunches. I got to do this. That's really important. That's what I have to do. Then there's things I think I should do. And they're the things that we need to maybe clear out a bit because they're not as important of things. They're things that we put self-imposed, right? And that's the type of list. So this list we have to do, this is the list that we should, and then we should have a fun list of things we want to do and that we should do. So these are the two things we should be focusing on. And the shoulds, we should weed them out and see, is that really true? But anyway, treating people well, I think, is so important, because even in like addictions, like Alcoholics Anonymous, they tell you to go back to anyone that you might have hurt. There is healing and in forgiveness and moving on and talking to people and being open and saying, listen, you hurt me, but I think I hurt you. There's a lot to that. And that is going to help take emotional weight off of you. And that's weighing you down, and that's speeding up the aging process. So treating people well, I think, is very important. Now, there's a difference between being nice and kind. And I learned this probably in the last couple of years. I definitely am a kind person. I know that. Everybody doesn't always think I'm nice because, you can't always be nice. I'm trying to return something and the people are being, less than helpful, and they're trying to, do all these things about return. I'm going to get a little terse on the phone and be like, listen, or if something in business, a vendor, you need to be held responsible. I'm not saying you lose it and start swearing, but you need to hold people responsible. They don't think you're being nice at that point, but that's where niceness goes out the door, right? So nice and kind are two different things. So I view myself as, like I said, a kind person, but I'm not always nice. A kind person is someone who is compassionate. They care about other people. I look at a lot of different circumstances that I might have been kind in that I didn't necessarily have to be. So kind is a totally different thing than nice. If you want to see kindness, maybe see how, maybe you're picking a man and you're saying, well, I wonder if he's really a kind man, because that's important. How does he treat older people? How does he treat children, right? Those are two things. Animals. How do people treat animals? That all shows a kindness. So nice and kind are two different things. So you don't always have to be nice. You should always be kind. And therefore, treating people well is more about kindness. And then there are circumstances where people need to be held accountable. And that's where you don't always have to be so nice. Okay, but going along with this point is learning to forgive, letting go. I had a friend of mine that said, well, you're too forgiving, as one of my things she was talking. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm also happy and healthy and I don't have a lot of regret or anything. So I don't think it's wrong to be super forgiving unless you're being in an abusive situation and you keep letting it go. Then you're not being kind to yourself. But being forgiving and learning how to forgive and letting things go, you do that for you. You don't do it for the other person. Now, if you're in a relationship, you're seeing them, yes, you can say, I forgive you, but do it for yourself to let go of that weight, because that's something else that's raising your cortisol, bringing your vibrational frequency down. Living by your own rules. Now, when I was thinking about that, I was like, wait a minute, I don't mean to break the law and speed or anything like that. I mean, I could be a maverick on certain levels, but I obey laws. But living by your own rules, what this means is anything, like when people say things, oh, you're getting married, well, that's going to be like this. Oh, you're getting divorced, well, your life's going to be hell from here. Oh, you're getting older, this is what it has to look like. I don't think so. I am like, because you're saying that, I'm going to make sure I do the opposite of that. So it doesn't, even the divorce I went through, which was, I don't even know, years ago now. It was the year maybe 2007. I didn't really want to be divorced. I didn't really want to take off my wedding ring. So what did I do? I go, all right, I got a little tattoo. It's my first, and then 6. I got 6 later throughout my body, because you do get addicted to them. Now, what is going on with that? So you can make me take off my wedding ring, but you can't make me take off my tattoo. And I made a little joke. I ended up being friends with my ex for years, of course. He is now deceased. God rest his soul. But we became friends. We stayed friends. We saw each other quarterly. I'm like, yeah, if I can see my accountant quarterly, I can see my ex quarterly. But what this was, we made it like a little joke. It was for eternity. Or eternal is what it meant, a kanji symbol for eternal. And what that meant to me is it's easy to love somebody that's in your home, taking care of you, paying for things, doing things. It's not so easy to love somebody when they turn around and walk away. And that's the test of your love. So I was like, you know what? This is my commitment to myself and to him, that I will love him as long as I'm alive. Not as long as he's alive, because he's not even alive anymore. As long as I'm alive. And that's a beautiful commitment. So I decided, no, my divorce isn't going to be like that. And then I would go places and I would like take pictures and I would give him the finger. And it would be this finger. It'd be like, like a fun thing. So anyway, make your own rules. Do things that are out of the norm, and you don't have to listen to everybody else. And that revitalizes you, makes you feel good, and that's all a part of aging, right? So the other thing is no regrets, right? People have a bucket list, so I kind of add that to this. I kind of have a loose one, but things that you want to do. And it's not just about things you want to do, it's also about people you want to see. Oh, I have an uncle, he's older. Oh, I should get over there to see him. Then he dies. Well, it would be best if I saw him, because now I'm going to feel bad. So people that you want to see, maybe some elderly people or whatever, people you want to spend time with, do that, because you don't know how long they're going to live or how long you're going to live. And anybody, I mean, I hate to say it, but anybody can die in an accident, right? So that's super important. Spending time with people, but also doing things that you want to do. I've never been to the Caribbean, so I'm going to save money and I'm going to go. Or, well, I'd really like to go to, somewhere really far and exotic and snorkel, but I can't afford that. So you know what? I'm going to go to Florida and I'm going to snorkel. Incidentally, that's probably not a good idea, because I was just there and the snorkeling is not that good. So I do recommend go to the Bahamas. So I'm going to say that. But anyway, just having that bucket list and doing things that are things that you want to do, and that keeps you young. It gives you things to look forward to, which is really great. Now, the other one is emotional hygiene, which I think is really important. I kind of like that word. It's like cleaning out, making sure things are clean. And what I really think of as you get older is trauma or things that happen to you that you're holding on to. That's where forgiving comes in. But there's also trauma from childhood, right? Let's say I had a parent that would give love and take it away. That's really hard, and it's going to affect my relationships later. I deny. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. Really? Because if I don't clear it out, it's going to cause problems with my husband, maybe, right? Because I don't trust him, because my dad did that. Or my father died, so I had a little bit of issues with abandonment, so I had to work on. And nobody has a perfect childhood. So even things so terrible as molestation, someone who was molested. Well, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to go there. They just suppress it. Okay. And I'm saying get professional help. I mean, counseling, that type of thing. Until the unconscious becomes conscious, you cannot get rid of it. And that's based on Carl Jung. And he is a philosopher, kind of like Freud, but he's so much more a counselor, philosopher, psychologist. And I just ascribe to his thinking a lot more than that. He says if you don't get rid of it, it's going to stay there and come up in inopportune ways. And that weighs on not only to affect your relationships, but it weighs on you. It's that trauma underneath. It's like, I don't know, leaving a light on all the time in your house in the attic. It's like, well, why don't we turn that off? Because that's making the energy bill go up, and that's draining, the energy. It's going to cost me down the road. And lacking emotional hygiene will do that. So one thing you can look up, TRE, trauma release exercise. TRE, trauma release exercise. You can just Google it. You can put it into YouTube. A man developed this. And this is you moving your body in certain ways that you eventually fatigue the muscle. If you ever did a wall sit and you get shaky, right? What that is basically you're fatiguing the muscle, and then you start to involuntarily shake. Well, this is a sequence of exercises to get you in that mindset, right? You're going to relax. I'm going to start releasing. So then your body starts to shake. Very simple. And it's weird. You can stop it at any time, but it kind of goes on its own. And it's like an animal, right? A gazelle was being chased by a lion. As soon as the gazelle is safe, does the gazelle go home and say, oh my gosh, I almost got killed by No. Well, they can't talk, obviously. But anyway, they don't worry about it all day. They just shake it off, right? Maybe that's what Taylor Swift meant with her Shake It Off video. I don't know. Maybe that was about men. I don't know. We probably need to shake that off too. So that's what TRE does. It allows you to shake off those emotions. I actually did plant medicine about a year ago, And holy mackerel, I went through a bunch of traumatic experiences. Now, I didn't do ayahuasca, I did San Pedro, but I literally shook for 7 to 8 hours. Literally. I was like, oh my gosh, when's this going to stop? Now, it's not as scary as some of the ayahuasca and the other things, so it wasn't mentally scary. I couldn't even hold a thought, and I shook that long. And the lady's like, we've never seen this. I'm like, I've never done this before. But it was from some traumatic experience, and I had to shake until it all got out of there. So consider looking up TRE, trauma release exercise, or going to counseling. But there are sometimes physical, getting it out is going to be better. Even exercising daily. People have Parkinson's, right? I have a friend that had Parkinson's. She said, when I get overwhelmed, I start to shake because the emotions have overwhelmed so much and the body can't contain it. And that's where the shaking comes in. That's a little bit my theory on Parkinson's. But I've read articles. I was watching this guy on YouTube. He just walks every day for an hour. He doesn't shake at all because he's gotten rid of so much energy. Your body can only keep so much in, and the negative energy needs to move. So you can do talk therapy or you can move. And I really like TRE. And the last thing is balancing your hormones. To age well, aging and hormones are like synonymous. So there's certain hormones that age you. Estrogen, right? I'm so sick of hearing, oh, your estrogen goes down. It goes down a little bit, but your progesterone drops tremendously, and your progesterone is what's connected to your blood sugar, your sleep, your mood, your weight, your cravings, cancer risks, lowering cancer risks, all that. So aging hormones are hormones like cortisol, insulin, and estrogen. Okay. And then there's other ones that aren't as aging, and that is progesterone. That's what we talk about to be balanced. So that's just a synopsis. But what we need to do is balance estrogen, progesterone, bring up the good hormones, lower the bad hormones with a combination of lifestyle and supplements, natural. You do not need to replace hormones, because what happens with HRT? You get horse urine and progestogens or synthetic progesterone, or if you go bioidentical, you'll usually get estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And what we find to be balanced, testosterone balances when you balance estrogen and progesterone. You don't need estrogen. We give you natural progesterone. It balances out. Your body can make the estrogen, and then you're not really replacing, you're just balancing your hormones. Okay, so those are some things you can do to slow the aging process or have you age well, okay? Because it's not time. Oh, I'm 50 years old. It's abuse over time that causes the ravages of aging. That's why rock stars could be 30 and look like they're 60 because of the aging process and the abuse that they've done over that time. 10 years I was on, let's say I was on tour for 10 years. That's what causes it. So we can't stop aging, but we can stop looking and feeling old. And that's what we want to do. So want more answers? Want a free consultation? BeBalanceCenters.com.